10 hidden signs of ADHD in women that you might not have even known were signs of ADHD. If you've randomly come across this video having a doom scroll searching all things ADHD in women, then hi, thank you for being here. My name is Lucy. I'm an ADHD fitness coach who helps women all across the world make health, fitness, weight loss work with their neurospicy brain. And I am, well, I thought I was late diagnosed, but apparently I'm not late diagnosed because I was diagnosed in my 20s. Apparently you've got to be 30, 40 for that to be a thing. But I was diagnosed later on in life. And there are so many things that I did not realise were traits of ADHD, and I'm still learning are traits of ADHD. And, you know, you've got your classic naughty boys running around the classroom beliefs about ADHD, you know, that's what we all thought it was. Then you've got your criteria and some of the most, like, obvious sort of things, like being distracted and this, that and the other. But there are some sort of more subtle things that are actually signs. So I wanted to go into those today to give you a bit of education and hopefully a few light bulb moments. But if you do enjoy learning more about ADHD and how to make it work with your brain in the context health, fitness and well-being, just make sure that you hit subscribe, because I bring videos with myself and guest podcasts from people who are experts in neurodiversity to this page every week. So just hit that button and let's crack on. So the first thing is being chronically late, no matter how hard you try. Like, not just like, you know, we all, you know, a bit late from time to time or forget, but literally no matter what you do, you are late. Like, you've set the alarms, you've set the reminders, you know, you've set up early, but you are chronically late. And this is not a you issue. This is something called time blindness, where ADHD brains struggle with the concept of time. Like, we don't feel it the same. And also, like, there's things like being distracted when you're getting ready, so being late. Now, some of you like me will be like, yeah, I can't relate to that one, because I'm never late to anything. Like, I was always the opposite. I was like, I'm always super early. But what I actually realised was that my time blindness showed up with me masking by overcompensating. Like, right, if I need to be there for this, I'm going to get like a bus, like so I'm more like an hour early to everything. So if you're like me, you might have actually masked and compensated by being super early to everything. Sign number 2 is that your emotions feel bigger than everyone else's. Now, we all experience like a wave of emotions, some strong, some a little bit weaker. And of course, some emotions are heightened during things like our menstrual cycle as women. But it's like you feel things in a completely different way that's really hard to explain. Like, you can go from completely fine to like flapping. You can feel like when you're watching a film or a TV show, like really, really, really sad. Like, I remember as a kid, there's a scene in Madagascar, the first Madagascar. It's a great film, but I couldn't watch it. Like, I literally could not watch it because there's a bit where like a little duck gets eaten by a crocodile, and it literally made me feel like the end of the world happened. Like, I was so sad. So like, now I know that's emotional dysregulation, but like, I genuinely, I remember in primary school we watched it and I had to make an excuse that I needed a wee to avoid that part of the film. So the ADHD brain struggles with that emotional processing, and it's because the part of the brain that deals with emotions, it's simply because our brain processes emotions differently. So if you feel things really, really strong, that's why. Number 3 is you can lose things while they are literally in your hand, and it's probably something that you've laughed about, like, where's my phone? Oh, it's there. But you do it like all the time. Like, you've not, like, things that you have like routines with, but you cannot remember for the life of you where your keys are. You feel like the amount of times that you've been late because you've lost your keys, you've put your phone down somewhere, you walk into a room, you've got no idea why. It's all to do with our working memory with ADHD, which is part of one of our executive functions. And it's one of those things that can make you feel really, really, really frustrated and annoyed, but it's just one of those things with ADHD. The amount of times that I have put my keys down and then they're in my hand or like whatever, crazy. Number 4 is when we think of hyperfocus, we think of locking into a task, but hyperfocus can be on things and people. So growing up, I was like obsessed with boy bands, but like obsessed to the point where it was like almost an addiction. Like like I had to go to the concert, I had to know this, I had to be the first one to buy this. Like, it was quite intense, and I really, really think about it. Like, it really captures your attention, and it goes from like nothing to like, this is now my entire personality, my whole world's covered in posters. And then you can just forget about it. And it's a brain that runs on passion. You know, this is why a lot of people with ADHD, they become like obsessed with like doing a certain hobby, and they're like, yeah, I'm not interested now, or oh, I'm going to go, you know, do this, and then it's like, nah, I don't really want to do it. And the amount of times that I had that with like, you know, oh, I'm going to try this sport or like this club, and then I'm just like, I'm not interested now. But it really does become like your personality. Like, it's not just, oh, I'm going to try it. It's like, it becomes everything. So that's that one. Sign number 5 is that cooking feels really freaking hard. Like, not a case of like the actual skill of cooking, as in, you know, like the skill set, the step-by-step of follow this, do that. Like, I remember I really wanted to be interested in cooking and baking. Like, you know, it was something that we did a lot, like, as family. Like, we'd cook together, we'd bake with my nana and stuff. Like, it was a really wholesome activity. But I remember doing it in school and just finding it, like, so stressful, like the pressure of like the steps and the timings, and it's executive functioning, isn't it? It's steps and timings and, you know, different functions going on at once. I find it so stressful. So this is why I actually don't, now that I understand this, I don't really like cook like your typical meals. Everything for me is like very simple, you know, throwing a few ingredients together, you know, like scrambled egg on toast, I might get some like root veg mash and then throw some meat in the air fryer. Like I find it really hard, and every time I've tried to kind of break that and go, no, I'm going to cook something, it just feels so stressful. So I personally, and quite a lot of ADHDers, find things like the cooking and baking and stuff like something that they really want to do because they want the end product, or maybe there is a nostalgia attached to it, like I know there is for me, but I can't do it. Number 6 is sleep issues. Now, I have actually just done a guest podcast on this. So if you go to my last episode, really good episode all on that. I think it's something like she said, like 80% of people with ADHD are more likely to have sleep disorders for like a variety of reasons. And it isn't just a case of like people with ADHD forget to do their sleep hygiene or anything like that. That is, you know, one reason. But there's literally a multitude of reasons why ADHDers might struggle with sleep more. Hyperactivity, dopamine seeking after a long day, sleep rebellion. Like, there's so many reasons, and like I now sleep quite well because I've become very aware of it. But there's been so many times in my life where I've literally slept so bad and had so much inconsistency, and it, you know, I now know I used to get things like a lot of dopamine from, you know, staying up late when I shouldn't have been, and just doom scrolling on my phone and watching TV till late because it was fun. So huge correlations with sleep issues and ADHD. Sign number 7 is that you feel like you're performing to fit in a lot. And obviously we now know that this is masking, but I felt my entire life that I was never authentically me. Like, I felt like I was always kind of like shape-shifting and doing things to try and fit in and rehearsing what to say, because humans have a core need to belong. Like, it's one of the core needs of human beings. And with ADHD, because you are just a little bit different in the way that you do things and think about things and feel about things, you might feel like you're very, very different to everyone else. And you might have done things that were different to other people. Like, for example, you really just want to, you know, you need to get a thought out of your head, so you interrupt people. You've got racing thoughts and ideas, and maybe you've got lots of energy and other people don't. So you end up adapting who you are to fit in. So you always feel like you're kind of never truly being yourself, but doing it just to try and fit in. And, you know, growing up, I thought that it was just that, oh, I'm a bit weird, a bit of a weirdo, a bit of a loser, so this is just my way of trying not to be that. But now I know that the loser was actually, you know, it wasn't an L, it was an ADHD, so that can be one. Number 8 is that you can be the most brilliant person to go to in an emergency or crisis situation, but when it comes to just day-to-day stuff, you can be absolutely useless. And again, it's not a motivation or discipline thing. It's the ADHD brain's one of the core motivators is urgency to get things done. So when there is like urgency and importance to do things, you are like the best person to have in your corner. But it's also why you could, you know, get an essay done that should have taken you a month overnight. It's why when you've literally got to get out the door now, you can do it. Like, urgency drives ADHDers to do something, but when there's no like urgency to do it now or importance to do it at this moment, it's literally like banging your head against a wall to try and do things. Like, if you struggle with like work tasks or life admin and there's not really incentive or urgency to do it now, that's why it can feel so freaking hard. Number 9, and one of the reasons that I do the work that I do, is having a complicated relationship with food. Now, with the diet culture that we live in, the world that we live in, so many of us do have struggles and have had struggles with food. And it isn't that if you binge eat or struggle with food and restriction or whatever, you've got ADHD, but there's so much link. You know, food gives us dopamine, so we can have that binge restrict dopamine cycle from those kind of foods, and that's why a lot of people with ADHD can overeat and have a lot of food noise and binge eating. But there's also the dopamine that you get from going like into an extreme approach, which is why ADHD is generally more magnetized to, you know, wanting to go all in these extreme diets like keto or bodybuilding and, you know, things like that. You know, a lot of ADHD is with the things that struggles like emotional regulation, like feeling things really intensely, the masking, the exhaustion, turning to food to cope with those sorts of things. So a lot of people who really struggle with their relationship with food and they feel like they've tried so much but nothing's quite clicked, understanding how ADHD comes into that is one of the most transformative things, and it's definitely helped me like You know, I went through anorexia recovery. I worked with a PT. I worked with another coach. I worked with a coach on my relationship with food. But the thing that really brought everything together and has got me to a space now where I can maintain a body that I feel happy in, where I feel like fitness adds to my life. It's not like this all-encompassing thing, and I don't rely on food for this. It's understanding how ADHD fits into the piece of the puzzle. Like, this is why I do the work that I do, because so many people think, oh, I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this and I've tried therapy and this, and I'm still stuck. And it's because they don't understand what ADHD comes into that. And number 10, I think I'm on number 10. I feel like I've skipped a number, and if I have, I'm really sorry. I'll watch this back and I'm like, damn it. But number 10 is one of my favourite ones that I just thought, this is one where I'm a little bit sad that it is just ADHD and I'm not this magic mystic Meg, is intuition. So like, being able to read the room, so easy. Being able to pick up on like people's vibe, so easy. So I used to call it my sixth sense, that I could gauge what a person was like just from quickly looking at their social media or meeting them for the first time. Like, it gave me a gut instinct. And I'm going to say I've made mistakes, but 95% of the time it's been right. What's interesting is I've struggled when it's in the context of me. So like, people that have become close to me, like friends, and when I've had boyfriends and stuff, like I've never picked on it then, but when it's for other people, so like friends of friends or their partners, straight away I meet them and I go, you're gonna break up. They're a dick, they're a snake, they're not a good person. And it's the weirdest thing ever. Like, it's so hard to explain, like the ADHD intuition. If you've got it, you'll get it. And it's one of those where there's so many times, and I've told my friends this later in life, where my friend meets someone and they get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, and I straight away just know they are not a good person. This is not going to end well. But you can't tell someone, hey, I think you should break up with this person, because my sixth sense is telling me that this is bad. But a few months later, and it's all because we have this heightened sense of like sensitivity. You know, we have sensory overload, and because we're so good at masking and picking up on other people, we can pick up on the tiniest little patterns and changes and shifts so easily in the vibes. So I do really enjoy that one, and I wish I was more sensitive to it, to the people in my world. I'm definitely better at it. But hey, if you've ever if you've got a, you know, just started newly dating someone and you want like my ADHD intuition to tell you whether they're marriage material or you're going to break up in 2 weeks because they're going to cheat on you, just drop me a number and I'll let you know. The thing just I want to wrap up this video with is, if you are an ADHD woman or you think you've got ADHD, is, you know, I've had a bit of fun with this video. Some are a bit more serious, some are a bit more lighthearted, but really understanding all these things, whether it is something silly or something, you know, that maybe is having quite a big impact on your life, like the emotions or the food, it's all important, because it's just having that validation to go, oh, I'm not useless, or oh, I'm not broken, or oh, that makes sense. And it's really, really comforting to know those things. And for the things that maybe are a problem or causing you distress or costing you, you know, whatever that is, confidence or time or money, you can do something about it when you actually understand how. Like, if you just try and willpower your way through things or just try harder, like, that doesn't work. Like, if you just try harder to remember to not lose your phone, that's not going to work. Where it's like, right, if I'm always, you know, putting it down and forget it, maybe it's like I always put it down in X place. Or like, there's a thing on your iPhone where you can like find my iPhone and you can ping the noise. Having like things like that set up are really, really good. And I also just wanted to say at the end of this video, like, come connect with me. Like, one of the best things that I have found, like, really coming to terms with my ADHD, is speaking to other people that get it, rather than feeling judged or why do you do that? Or, that makes no sense. It's like, yeah, girl, me too. So if you do feel alone and you don't have anyone to connect with, just come drop me a message on Instagram to say, hey Lucy, I watched your last video and I really resonated, and let's have a chat. Like, my DMs are always open to chat, and obviously if you do want more support on the fitness side of things, again, just come slide in my DMs and let's have a chat about it. But over and out for today. I'd love to know in the comments as well which ones resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next video.